Thanks, man. Oh, what a privilege. My first time in Sydney as well. I'm really excited to go to Woolies, get some Tim Tams, this Arvo. Have I got that right? Okay. Right, I'll try and do that for us. Okay, what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the shit, the pipe, and what to do with it, right? We spend a lot of time talking about the pipe work. I'm talking about the shit that goes in it, right? And the advantage you fine audience have and the privilege you have to have such an engaging platform for advertisers to use. Now, I screwed up a little bit because I wrote a 40-minute presentation and found out this morning I got 20 minutes, right? I'm like, dude, come on. Anyway, you're going to get 40 minutes in 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to talk quickly, all right? So is that okay? I hope it is. We're doing it anyway. All right, love this quote. David Abbott, shit that arrives at the speed of light is still shit, all right? We've got to deal with the shit. We've got to make the shit better, all right? So this is what I'm here to talk about. What do CMOs worry about? I'm in a very lucky position. I get to fly around the world, meet some of the coolest and most successful CMOs in the world, and talk to them about how they did it. I also get to talk about what they're worried about. The biggest thing they're worried about is making the case for long-term brand-building investment, right? These are all anonymous, but these are all pretty cool CMOs, all right? That's what they're worried about because they're under so much short-term pressure to get results today, to keep their job, to hit quarterly results, right? And they need to build the case for brand building. So I'm going to talk to you very quickly about 5 ways in which TV can do that and 5 advantages that I think you've got. The first thing, and I'm really delighted, we've got Karen Nelson-Field and Team Amplified somewhere over there. Give us a shout. There you go. It's amazing, isn't it? We talk about attention. Okay, I'm going to do an experiment, right? I'm playing in front of you now 2 adverts. Advert on the left is by Apple. Advert on the right is by the Barclaycard Fraud Prevention Squad. And I'd like you to do one thing for me. So these 2 ads are playing. I'd like you to raise your hand if at the moment you are looking at the advert on the left. Can you raise your hand if you're currently looking at the advert on the right? Oh, I would say, scientifically, that's about 80% of the audience. Now, I've done this same experiment in many countries around the world, and on average, 3/4 of the audience will be looking at the advert on the right. Now, why is this important? Well, we did an experiment to look at how many minutes of attention did those 2 bits of creative achieve when they went on television. Now, the answer was incredible. It was up to 2 or 3 times the difference. So if you look at this, we tracked it across a number of channels, and what we found is the difference in minutes of attention up to 3 times. And the more TV-related, more audiovisual it was, the bigger the attention difference got. And there's a Brucey bonus here. Sorry, English reference. There's a bonus here. When we asked people afterwards, which advertiser could you remember, there was a 50% increase in the amount of people that remembered the advertiser on the right. Now you think about that, the same cost of advertising, an entirely different result in terms of minutes of attention and brand recall. Again, Team Amplified, who made a lot of noise earlier, right, can also tell you this, and you know this already, I'm telling you something you already know, right? Attention on TV trumps everything else, right? So that's the advantage. Now, I'll quickly explain why. So I'm going to quickly show you the Apple ad, I'm going to show you the Barclaycard ad, and I'm going to show you the emotion that the people watching felt. I'm going to show you the amount of attention that was lost as the ad played, and I'll show you the ability of the audience to remember who it was, all at the same time in a magical chart, which I'll play now, and then I'll explain it. I got royalty inside my DNA. I got hustle, though ambition flow inside my DNA. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got. Right, I'll tell you what you're seeing on the top right-hand side. So what we do at System 1 is we measure emotion. It turns out that how you feel about an advert predicts how you'll go on and behave, whether you'll remember it, you'll buy it, you'll like it, you'll talk about it, okay? Emotion is important. We actually think less than we think. The more we feel about something, the more we buy. And we know this from behavioral science, Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow, buy the book. So, top right-hand side, the grey is neutrality. That is the percentage of people watching now that felt absolutely nothing. In fact, what happens with this style of advertising is you zone out. You probably were zoned out. I mean, I have to get you back in the room now. I don't have to encourage you back in, right? But you probably felt nothing. Do you know what the red is? Contempt. Yeah? This isn't a good look, is it, right? This is not working out. The grey thing is attention, right? So, I mean, you know this, like 2.5 seconds, people drop out. You're seeing it here, right? This is what happened. Immediately, people are like, forget this, I'm clicking on, right? Do they remember the brand? It's got Apple in your face the whole time, but they're still not getting it, right? Until the end and the whole thing, right? Compare that to this one. This is the Barclaycard ad. Here we go.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Oh.
Now, contrast that. What you're seeing there is light green. Light green is happiness. And we know, because we've studied it, we've done lots of studies into it, the happier you feel about a brand, the more likely you are to go on and buy it in future. And that's what they achieve. So about 75% of the audience are feeling happy by the end. That's because there's something interesting going on, isn't there? You're wondering what's happening. There's a good soundtrack. There's a joke. Are they really gorillas? You're not sure. You can see that in the attention. And you can also see that in how fluency builds and people recognize the brand. We're talking about fraud prevention. I mean, how boring can you get, right? But they've managed to make it interesting. Interesting thing, actually. The more boring the category, the more interesting the advertising. Actually, weird thing. Because actually, the more features you have in your brand, if you're a really cool brand with lots of features, you tend to talk about them, which actually most people don't want to hear about. Anyway, sidetrack. Second thing I want to talk to you about, the power to create emotion. Now, I wish he was here. So the #1 book to go out and buy, rush out and buy, get it onto Amazon, order it, please, today, is this guy, Orlando Wood, colleague of mine, has written an amazing book about how advertising works. It is absolutely incredible. Now, he's based it on an even more incredible guy called Dr. Ian McGilchrist. Sorry, he's not knighted yet, but he will be. Now, he wrote a book called The Master and His Emissary, and it is so fascinating. I recommend the audio version, by the way, because it's thousands of pages. The audio version is good. 27.5 hours it took me. It's very impressive, but what he's done is he's looked at the hemispheres in our brain and how we deal with the world around us. And he's based it on neuroscience. He's based on lots of studies of patients that are under anesthetic and how they respond and all this kind of thing. He's looked at history. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And what Orlando's done magically is taken that science and that understanding and applied it to advertising. And what I think he's done that I've never seen done before is he's broken advertising down into the very things that can capture our attention, create an emotion, and achieve memory. And I'm going to very quickly explain this to you. And this is going to be like Orlando Wood in 2 minutes, right, which has never been done before. So it's going to be interesting. There'll be a quiz later. Okay, so have a look at this, right? This is a really interesting thing from Ian McGilchrist's book. This is a weird thing, right? But apparently you can actually disable half of a brain with a certain load of drugs, right? This is a thing that happens when operations go down. And what they then did is they then asked people when they had half their brain basically disabled to draw a flower. And this is what happens. So if you've only got your left hemisphere operating, you end up focusing in on the detail, right? You're narrow. You're right in there. If the right-hand part of the brain is on, what you get is you get like a broad picture, an overall feel. Now, of course, you know the answer. It's both parts of the brains working together that achieve the complete picture. But what Orlando did is he took this hypothesis and said, what happens if I apply that to advertising? Now, this is what he did. He then took the features of the left and right hemispheres of the brain, applied them to advertising, went back over 20 years, classified thousands of ads, and looked at their ability to create attention and drive emotion and deliver market share, right? That's a huge amount of work I've just explained in no time at all. And what he worked out is this, right? Advertising that does the stuff you see on the left-hand side, that's close up, that's flat, that zooms in on the product, that's got rhythmic soundtrack, the kind of advertising that annoys you, that you click past on your social feed, right? That's on the left. What about the right-hand side? Well, the right-hand side is basically what you go to the movie for, or you might read a book for. It's basically got a clear sense of place. There's a scene that unfolds, like the gorilla scene, right? There's interaction between people. There might be music that makes you feel something. The sorts of things that you talk about a good movie having or a good Netflix series, right? Might have distinctive accents, dialogue, all that kind of thing going on. And that's in the right-hand chart. Now, there are two charts I'm going to show you, and you're not going to be able to read them, right? Because they're clever and detailed and got lots of stuff going on. But I just want to summarize this. So what Orlando then did is he then looked at those features, and what he found is the features on the right are more associated with emotion and memory and recall, as I said. But do you know what's happened? All of those features are in decline because he mapped them out over many, many years. All the features on the left the buy now, you know, buy, close up on the products, all those are increasing. But this is the best chart in advertising today, right? Just to give it a plug. It's the hero. It's like the long and the short of it, but for brain science and how creative works, right? So take a photo of this one. What he worked out is all those right brain features, he could correlate to greater emotion and greater memory afterwards, right? Greater attention and memory recall afterwards. That's amazing. So it's almost like he's lifted the hood on the car and worked out how the car works, and he's just revealed it here. This is how you make great advertising. All right, let's move on to number 3, the power to make memories. Now, I'm very lucky at System 1 because I get to kind of look under the hood of all the science and data and all that kind of stuff we've got and work out how brands work. And do you have Aldi supermarket here? I think I saw a truck. Yeah, you do. Good. All right, we're on home turf. Anyway, Aldi are probably the UK's most impressive advertiser for the last 5 years. Amazing IPA, gold, FE paper, lots of stuff to read about. Anyway, what they've done is they had a real problem because they're a discount supermarket, very cheap, and every Christmas they lose share because everyone goes to the posh supermarkets, right? They go to John Lewis and Waitrose M&S, right? That's what happens. So they had a brief 7 years ago, which is outdo John Lewis. Now, John Lewis are famous in the UK for doing this dramatic, emotional Christmas advertising, and they came up with this idea to make a 4p carrot into their brand mascot. Bit crazy, I know. And then they went on to create this kind of Christmas ad that takes Kevin the carrot on a journey through Christmas. It's all very emotional, very exciting. Now, they're the only advertiser on our database that has achieved 5 stars for 5 years in a row, and every single year they've increased market share. And what they've been able to do is connect the advertising campaign at Christmas to 70% of the increase in footfall that they get the following year is down to this campaign. The return on investment is incredible, absolutely incredible. Go and read the case study. But what I love about this, and this is the thing that I think you can build in TV that is much harder to do elsewhere, is what my friend Orlando calls a fluent device. And a fluent device is something that you own. It could be a character, could be a soundtrack, could be a strapline, could be a logo. In this case, it's Kevin. And what that does is it creates immediate association to your brand. It creates memory, it creates branding. And what we find in our studies is that, again, looking at the IPA database, so big database of award-winning work in the UK, and what we found is on every metric, having a fluent device, having something associated with your brand is better on all measures of whether it's new customers, market share, price, profit, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, having spent 5 years at System 1, used to be a CMO, got fired, so this is what I'm doing. It's good. I should have learned this before. If I'd learned this before and got fired, it'd be great. Anyway, it's kind of true. But this is the one thing that I would have taken from all my 5 years at System 1 is if you're a brand owner, create a fluent device, because everything can be copied these days. The cost of copying stuff is going down. The speed to copy stuff is getting quicker, right? So fluent devices are one of the biggest hacks in all of marketing. And it doesn't have to be a logo. So Just Eat, you've got a version of Just Eat here, I think, haven't you? You know, like Uber delivery, all that kind of stuff, right? Anyway, Just Eat, amazing. They have owned a phrase. And I won't try and, if I try and replicate it, it goes, did somebody say Just Eat? So they put the brand in the jingle, and what I'm going to show you is a little video, which I think is the funniest thing ever, right? So we did some work this a couple of years ago with ITV, Thinkbox, UK, and we wanted to know, what do people do in an ad break? This is quite interesting, right? Because I know you think they're watching the ads, right? This is going to disavow you of that impression pretty quickly. But I want to show you the power of sound, so just watch this.
Take a walk on the wild side.
Hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side.
It's just a tickle. I'll try a sweet.
That's just a wee tickle.
Did somebody take your teeth?
Expedia helps you book every detail for every traveler and every trip. Connect all the things you love, all in one place. FTVA Atol Protect.
Did someone say just eat? Little love, good night.
It's about justice for
Good
11
night.
million people.
Anyway, I wish I could splice it together. There's another version of the video, right, where the first bit is one of the guys on the sofa basically says to his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, says, oh, geez, no one watches the ads, do they, right? And then goes, did somebody say? Literally straight after. Anyway, top tip, if you're going to make a TV ad, put some good music on it, put a fluent device, put something memorable, because they are listening, right? And this is what this shows, which is amazing. Okay, number 4, the power to connect with customers. Now, I think we've got Group N Nexus in the building, have we? Can I get a bet? Yay, come on. Yeah, raise amplify. Can you? Okay, all right, good. Okay, we did a study last year with our partners to look at what we call the addressable advantage. So what happens to emotion when you're able to target the creative as well? Now, our equivalent of Jetstar, which I took this morning, is Jet2 Airlines. I'm going to show you their ad, and then I'm going to show you what happens when you address the audience as well.
Darling, hold my hand. Oh, won't you hold my hand? 'Cause I don't wanna walk alone. I'm ready for this. There's no denying.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. Book now for this summer and take everything you want with you, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. APTA and ATOL protected.
There you go. Who doesn't fancy a holiday after that? Brilliant, isn't it? Happiness, love it. Very good. Branding, they went cheeky, actually, brand all the way through. But anyway, that's good. All right, so this is what happens when you address the audience. So we have a 5-star scale at System 1. Most ads get 1 star. About 1% of ads get 5 stars. So it's not like TripAdvisor where everything's 4.5. This is like, rare to get 5, okay? The broad audience, so in other words, everybody, average a 4-star. That's not bad. That's like top 3 or 4%. That'll do well. Brilliant, brilliant. Young couples in the UK, 4.7. All right, so that's pretty good. So people represented in an ad. By the way, people that are represented in ads feel better. So back to your multiculturalism. Show a bit more multiculturalism in your ads. Those people feel better. Everyone else also feels good. It's fine. So top tip. The other thing is, right, we got even more specific, by the way. We actually tested this in Leeds, because in the other version of the ad, they actually had, go and get the plane from Leeds Airport. They liked it even more, 5-star, right? So it just shows the power of addressable TV. I won't show you the Leeds ad. That's it. It's also cool. Okay, number 5, I was thinking to myself, I've got you 5 people in a room. You're probably going to be with me on up to now, go, yeah, of course, attention, creative, emotion, get it, get it, get it. What else could I tell you that maybe you hadn't thought of? The power of TV to change lives. You're thinking, man, this is a big stretch. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but has anyone in the room caught this story? Oh, yeah, some claps as well. This is just the most insane thing. Now, in 1 minute 47, I'm not going to be able to do this justice, right? But this is going to be hard. Okay, massive scandal, loads of years ago. People that run post offices, because they're like independent and whatever. Anyway, people that run post offices, there was a computer glitch. The computer glitch meant that they were suddenly, their bank balances weren't marrying up, so they thought they were losing money, right? So their money was disappearing. The post office went and sued like 700 of these postmasters, thinking they were frauding them, right? They were thinking they were stealing the money out the till. And no one believed them when they said, no, it's a computer problem. Anyway, really tragically, people went to jail. Some people even committed suicide. I mean, it's a devastating story, absolutely devastating. Now, Computer Weekly reported the story. Nothing happened. Local radio reported the story. Nothing happened. The internet reported the story. Nothing happened. Do you know what ITV did? They created a drama out of the story. Oh my God, has it changed? It was like debated in Parliament. There's been a retrial. There's been compensation. There's been millions of people doing, filling in the petition to get their money back. It's been talked about for weeks in the UK. Since Christmas, this has been like the biggest. I mean, it's been amazing for TV advertising. What it's done is it showed the power of TV to connect with culture, tell a story, and get people talking. And it's been incredibly powerful. So I thought I'd leave you with that as well. So in summary, I think in your position, this is what I'd do. I think, you've got the power to basically capture attention, create emotion, make memories, connect with customers, and even change lives, which would be amazing. Now, I couldn't be up here without giving myself a little plug. Sorry about that. If you like podcasts, go check it out. There's lots to check out on there. And thank you, Justin, for allowing me to do that. Cheers.
Stay there, 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I think you'll all agree with me. That was a brilliant presentation. I've got a couple of questions, though. In the UK, we do this big creative, emotional ad around Christmas time. In the US, it's around the NFL. How do you convince brands to do this sort of consistently and across it? Because the obsession is with the numbers, with the bottom of the funnel stuff. This is the science. How do you actually convince them to do that?
Yeah. The answer to that is, and I've been in this position as well as the CMO client side, is you've got to bring the data to the boardroom. Because actually, when you bring, well, first of all, the reason System 1 exists is to be able to measure the power of the creative. We have so much data on the pipes, right, and on, on kind of media mix. We're trying to match that with power, the data to show the long and the short benefit. Quick tip as well, you can't do short and get long, but you can go long and get short, right? We've proven that. So basically, when you're doing the brand building stuff, Orlando calls it lasting effects. It will start to work and continue to work. So you've got to bring the data to the board. And what I found is actually, I did this myself in a previous role. The CFO loved it. The CFO was, oh my God, at last, I can put the marketing team to account. But weirdly, once you do that, you actually make a fan and you actually find it's much easier to get budget signed off. So yeah,
put a number to the quality of the creative.
Put a number, and also what we do with the System 1 data is we predict the likely impact it might have. So you can go in and go, well, if we do this, we should be able to increase market share.
Okay, it's brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give one big round of applause again for Jon for coming
Cheers,
here.
man.
Cheers, matey. I thought that presentation worked quite nicely in 20 minutes, by the way, Jon. So maybe you've learned something there new too. Now, our next session, I want to invite the next two panelists to come on stage. I can't see where you are. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand to Leanna Dubois, CMO of Nine, and Jodie O'Donnell, who's the new CEO of TVNZ. Big round of applause, please.